Now, let's have some music. I've been excited about this show for, well, ever since we booked it, way back last winter. If any of you guys know me, I'm totally addicted to music. It's a big part of my life because I think music can heal, it can inform, and by golly, it can change the world. And there's no better example of this than Mr. Kahn. He's not only known as a great song craftsman. I've heard his name mentioned several times in workshops in Nashville. Not only that, but he spent his life making life better for the working man, and that's a really cool thing. He's celebrating 40 years in the recording business. Can you believe that? So that's pretty amazing. Give Cy a hand. Well, I think it's time to bring him out. Cy, if you want to come on out, give a big Charlotte welcome to Cy Kahn and the Looping Brothers. We lost Cy, but he's coming.
So we came all the way from Germany to play some tunes here for you, so I think we better get started. We are the Looping Brothers and we pick and sing. Listen to the guitar and the mandolin. Little bit of fiddle makes you feel alright. Banjo ringing on the Friday night. Rushing minutes make the wind lie still. Don't let the moonlight shine across the lonely hill. Dry all the raindrops and hold back the sun. My world is ended, my baby's gone. The milkman whistled softly as he comes up to my door. The mailman brings the letters by just like he did before. They seem so busy all day long, as though there's nothing wrong. Don't they know the world is ending? My baby's gone. Hold back the rushing minutes, make the wind lie still. Don't sometimes wake up in the night and realize you're gone. And then I toss upon my bed and wait for day to come. I try to tell my lonely heart it must go on alone, but it cries my world is ended, my baby's gone. Hold back the rushing minutes, make the wind lie still. Don't let the moonlight shine across the lonely hill. Dry all the raindrops and hold back the sun. My world is ended, my baby's gone. Make the wind lie still. Don't let the moonlight shine across the lonely hill. Dry all the raindrops and hold back the sun. My world is ended, my baby's gone. My world is ended, my baby's gone. Thank you very much. We're getting to do one more song in this little portion of the evening here, of the night, and we like to do a song in honor of probably the greatest influence on any guitar player around the world, Doc Watson, who passed away last year. Everyone that plays guitar knows about Doc's songs and his guitar playing. We'd like to do one that's entitled The Greenville Trestle High. I remember as a boy how in Wonderman and Joy I watched the trains as they'd go by, and the whistle's lonesome sound you could hear 4 miles around as they rolled across that Greenville Trestle High. But the whistles don't sound like they used to. Lately not many trains go by. Hard times across the lane mean no work for a railroad man, and the Greenville Trestle now don't seem so high. By the river bank I'd stand with a cane pole in my hand, watch the freight trains up against the sky, with the black smoke trailing back as they moved along the track that runs across that Greenville Trestle High. But the whistles don't sound like they used to. Lately not many trains go by. Hard times across the land mean no work for a railroad man, and the Greenville Trestle now don't seem so high. When the lonesome whistles whine, I get rambling on my mind. Lord, I wish they still sounded that way. But as I turned to head for home, Lord, she'd rumble low and long towards the sunset till the close of day. But the whistles don't sound like they used to. Lately, not many trains go by. Hard times across the lane mean no work for railroad men. And the Greenville trestle now don't seem so high. Yeah, the Greenville trestle now don't seem so high. Thank you so much. Let's welcome here on stage. We think he's the most relevant songwriter of today. Make welcome your own Kahn.
Monday morning comes too soon. I see the red sun rise. I feel like I ain't slept at all. The sleep's still in my eyes. And there ain't the time to turn again and love her where she lies. Have you seen a long, long line of men with their work clothes on? The factory gate swings open wide at the break of Monday dawn. I wish that I could stay with you till the night was almost gone. 5 days a week and 3 nights in your arms. Tell the children to sit up straight and wash behind their ears. Don't be staying up too late. Don't stop to count the fears. I'll retire on half my pay in only 30 years. Have you seen a long, long line of men with their work clothes on? The factory gate swings open wide at the break of Monday dawn. I wish that I could stay with you till the night was almost gone. 5 days a week and 3 nights in your arms. Sometimes I wish that for just one night I could be a rich man's son and lie with you in a lover's bed until the morning come. But you gotta go where the paychecks roll, where there ain't no work at home. Have you seen a long, long line of men with their work clothes on? The factory gate swings open wide at the break of Monday dawn. I wish that I could stay with you till the night was almost gone. 5 days a week and 3 nights in your arms. Thank you all so much. The Looping Brothers and I have been on the road for 3 weeks. We've been at the International Bluegrass Music Association, IBMA in Raleigh, where we showcased 5 times. Went to Ocracoke Island. Tell you more about that later. Went to Aberdeen and Washington, Warren Wilson College, on up to Lexington, Kentucky, Louisville, Kentucky. Tonight I'm in my hometown of Charlotte, North Carolina. Last Saturday, we played in the town of Aragon, Georgia. Is that a familiar name? That's where the Aragon Mill once stood. Today there's nothing left but the chimney with the gold letters that say Aragon on it, and the ruins of the mill that burned some years ago. That was the first time I had been in Aragon in 43 years. I was sent there in 1970 by the Textile Workers Union of America because the day before, in this cotton mill that had been there since the 1870s, where 700 people, grandparents, grandchildren, parents, children had worked, 700 of them, a notice had gone up on the bulletin board that said 2 weeks from today, this mill will close forever. And I was asked to go just to listen and to look and to see whether there was anything that could possibly be done to keep these jobs and this community and this mill alive and growing. And there was nothing to be done. I thought it was strange that a mill had closed because mills didn't close. They might have switched from Denham to Gabardine, or they might have changed some of the workforce, but mills did not close. And in 1970, 1 million people, 1 million people worked in the southern mills, 750,000 of them in the Carolinas. I thought it was an accident that the mill had closed. It was not. It was the first cold blast of a wind that blew across the South and swept away 1 million jobs. On Saturday, the mayor of Aragon, Ken Suffridge, hosted the first ever Aragon Mill Jam Fest. 4 country bands, 4 bluegrass bands, and hundreds of people who had worked in the mill, their children, their grandchildren, their great-grandchildren. We went there with a documentary film crew from North Carolina, Georgianne Eubanks and Donna, her partner, and from the Center for Documentary Studies. And again and again and again, they listened to the stories of the people who had worked in the mill and their families. And we were honored to be their guests. This is Aragon Mill. At the east end of town, at the foot of the hill, there's a chimney so tall that says Aragon Mill. But there's no smoke at all coming out of the stack, for the mill has pulled out and it ain't coming back. And the only tune I hear is the sound of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin. I'm too old to change, and I'm too young to die, and there's no place to go for my old man and I. There's no children at all in the narrow empty streets. Now the looms have all gone, it's so quiet I can't sleep. And the only tune I hear is the sound of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin. Now the mill has shut down, it's the only life I know. Tell me where will I go? Tell me where will I go? And the only tune I hear is the sound of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin. And the only tune I hear is the sound of the wind as it blows through the town. Weave and spin, weave and spin. Thank you so much. So just among us, and not those on stage, what did you think about the Looping Brothers? That's good. Why did you stop? Yeah, that's what I think of them too. So collectively, these are the Looping Brothers, and I'm going to introduce them individually and tell you just a little bit about them. Here on the mandolin, where's the mandolin? You know, there's a visual aspect to this that sort of, be patient. Okay. Here on the mandolin, thank you, Uli. Right? This is Uli Zieker. Now, there are people, not anyone here tonight, who think that the phrase European bluegrass is an oxymoron. It's a contradiction in terms, kind of like kosher barbecue. There's a magnificent bluegrass scene in Europe, and I've been lucky enough to share it for many years. Uli played on the first bluegrass recording ever made in Germany. Ever made in Germany. And
So he's that old?
Yeah,
He's that old?
he's that old, right. The problem was that, unfortunately, this was in 1882, and sound recording had not been invented, so all traces of this classic and historic recording have been lost. Now, Uli's musical partner for over 30 years is standing to my left, and this here is Matthias Mauscher. Matthias and Uli formed, some of you will recognize this great Earl Scruggs tune, Earl being our neighbor from Shelby. They were part of the legendary band, which was a Dutch-German band. It's kind of like, it's almost as radical as having people from South Carolina playing with us. Right? With apologies to Snuffy Jenkins. It was called Ground Speed. They toured in this country. They played with Bill Monroe. They played at Bean Blossom with Josh Graves, with Don Crary, with Kenny Baker, some of the legendary names in bluegrass. So there's a history here. The more recent addition to the Looping Brothers, okay, some of you, how many of you are involved with rescue dogs? Okay, good, thank you for doing that. But you know, basically you find a dog that's at the end of a very short chain and that's sort of emaciated and hungry looking and sort of desperate and you break the chain and you find him a good home. Ralph Strotman is actually a rescue musician. When Uli and Matthias found him, he was playing in a grunge band. Talk about chains. He was covered in them. And they persuaded him to abandon his wanton way of musical life and to become a looping brother. It actually took 4 trips to the car wash just to get the grunge off of him. But this is on and don't answer. You know this, he's playing mandolin and fiddle, right? Matthias is playing. Listen, we're a university community. You have to come back faster than that. But, however, I just want to tell you before you answer that Ralph is playing a doghouse bass, also known as an acoustic bass, also known as a stand-up bass. Appearances can be deceiving. But there are no electric instruments in bluegrass. Repeat after me. There are no electric instruments in bluegrass. What is he playing? Thank you. Willie, you want to kick us off? Now if I had my life to live, I'd surely live it over. Only walk in brand new shoes, just lay down in clover. Only work on Christmas Day, all the rest go sporting. Spend my days down at the creek, every night go courting. Honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, and the wild rose of the mountain. Now when I think of home, sweet home, makes my eyes grow misty. Papa singing gospel tunes, Mama sipping whiskey. Whiskey from a white oak barrel sure do make good liquor. Makes the night seem twice as bright, days go by much quicker. Honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, and the wild rose over the mountain. Now if I had a new made quilt, I'd fill it all with feathers. Take my Rosie by the hand and lay down there together. Oh, the days that we were young, thoughts that keep returning. Drive the winter cold away just like a log fire burning. Honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, and the wild rose of the mountain. Honey from the honeycomb, water from the fountain, sugar from the sugar cane, and the wild rose of the mountain. Oh, I'm sorry. Did you have something you wanted to say, musically speaking?
I thought we'd start the song.
Well, you know, I thought I'd introduce the song rather. Okay. But I admit you got to the mic first. It's true. Would you guys like to vote on who gets to go first? So this is another song from the Mills. This one comes from Greenville, South Carolina, called Goodbye Monday Blues. When I was a little thing up in Pickens County, my daddy took me from the farm to be a Milltown baby. It's goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever. Cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave you. Not a man in all these mills could beat me once for often. Now it's all that I can do to sit here without coughing. It's goodbye Monday blues, goodbye cardroom fever. Cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave you. breaks glass in some backstreet bar room. These was once the fastest hands at spinning spool or card room. It's goodbye Monday blues, goodbye carbon fever. Cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave you. Goodbye Monday blues, goodbye carbon fever. Cotton dust has got my lungs, you know I'm bound to leave you.
Yeah.
We're going to feature Uli on the man. Uli was struck at the age of 5 with a very bad case of instrumentitis, and he has a very difficult time telling instruments apart. We're going to feature Uli on the fiddle on a tune that you should not take as personal healthcare advice. It's called Whiskey Before Breakfast. That was Uli Zeker on the mandolin. Wow, that's Uli Zeker. So, some of you may know our youngest son, Gabe Kahn, graduate of, he graduated some schools, but not all. And Gabe is now 36. He just turned 36 years old. This may be the last time that any folk or bluegrass audience is willing to let me inside the building, because Gabe is a hip-hop producer and beat maker, and he and I are about to come out with our own album together. It's actually a wonderful experience to work with your children when they're really creative and really committed. And the way we do this is we start out a week of songwriting by going to junk stores, and Gabe will buy like 50 LPs. How many of you remember LPs? Not the natural gas stuff, and the really big CDs, that you just cannot get into your car stereo. How many of you still have an LP player in your truck. Yeah, well, see, I mean, we are witnesses to a sadly bygone past, but we can honor it every day of our lives. So he'll buy like 50 of them. I'm like, well, how did you know to buy that one? He said, he buys them because he likes the cover illustrations. And this has actually proved to be pretty cool because the whole point is to have beats that no one else has. So, and then we'll go and we'll sit down and he'll play me, you know, a little outtake from this. And he'll say, so Pops, what do you think? And I'll say, yeah, I don't know. And then he'll play one. So he'll say, what do you think now? I'm like, oh my God, that is so beautiful. He says, yeah, I think so too. Go away. And I come back an hour later and there's this completely looped track. And then it's my job to figure out what kind of lyrics and what kind of tune go with the beat that Gabe has created. We've been working at Chris Gargis's quite wonderful old house studio. Now you don't have to go to Gastonia. It's right up there on Highway 16, the Brookshire Highway extension. We've got one more session to go. We're going to get some harmony vocals laid down and a few extra pieces, and then it will be available. And we shall see. I wrote this song for Gabe when he was just a few days old. It's called Rock Me, Roll Me. Hardest things to think about are those you feel the most. And thinking of you now, that's what I feel. Like storms that drag the ocean floor and lift it towards the coast. You bring my childhood back so close and real. Rock me, roll me, Daddy, won't you hold me? Keep me in your arms the whole night through. Across the dreams of 30 years, they're sleeping side by side. The child in me, the newborn child that's you. It isn't just the making love that's made you what you are and brought the milk that keeps you growing strong. It's knowing that what you become depends on how I live. It makes me stare at you so hard and long. Rock me, roll me, Daddy, won't you hold me? Keep me in your arms the whole night through. Across the dreams of 30 years that sink them side by side. The child in me, the newborn child is you. If all my past and future life was rolled up in a ball, would you take it in your arms and hold it tight? If the frightened child I used to be was standing by your door, would you share your sleep with him tonight? Rock me, roll me, Daddy, won't you hold me? Keep me in your arms the whole night through. Across the dreams of 30 years that sleeping side by side. The child in me, the newborn child is you. The child in me, the newborn child is you. So how many of you are fans of the Kruger Brothers? Are the rest of you not fans of the Kruger Brothers, or are you just shy about raising? Okay, how many of you are fans of the Kruger Brothers but are not willing to raise your hand in public to say so? Hey, this is one of our great, extraordinary North Carolina bands. the Germans are taking over, let's face it. You know, we got these guys from Germany. The Krugers are actually Swiss nationals, except for Joe Landsberg, who's a Brooklyn Yeshiva kid, but you know, it's an international world. But they are German nationals. They're now living in Wilkesboro and tearing up the musical world. You know, if you have a chance to see them, please do not miss them. It's an extraordinary musical experience, whether they're playing with a symphony, whether they're doing concertos, hardcore bluegrass, cruise ship music. They did that for several years. It's just magnificent. And Jens Kruger just won the Steve Martin Prize for Banjo and Bluegrass Excellence. It's an amazing honor. Jens said, yeah, I didn't figure, I get an envelope, I don't know who it's from. I figured, open it anyway, and out fell a $50,000 check made out to him, and a letter signed by Noam Pikelny, Steve Martin, Allison Brown, Bela Fleck, the great of the older banjo players. So just wonderful and magnificent folks. And there's a reason that I'm telling you this story that I cannot recall at the moment. If you have seen the Kruger, that's what it was. Yes, indeed. How many of you are thinking, oh God, that happens to me all the time? You know that the song, Talking About My Generation, you know that one, right? You're not just folkies, you know some rock songs. So if you've seen the Krugers on YouTube, every once in a while, there's this old wizened mountain man singing with them that is the most amazing and beautiful high lonesome tenor. That's Maynard Holbrook. And we were backstage at the Cook Shack up in Union Grove, and the Krugers had invited us both to do a song or two on their set. And Maynard came up to me and he said, "Si, you know I'm making a CD." I said, "Yeah, Maynard, I'm glad to hear that." He says, "I want you to write a song for me to sing on my CD." And I said, "Maynard, that is an honor. I would love to do that." I said, "What should it be about?" And at that point, Hilda Holbrook, who has been married to Maynard for 45 years, says, "Well, Si, it needs to be about me, doesn't it?" And, in fact, it is. This is called Hilda. My name is Maynard Holbrook. In 1943, I married my Hilda, and she married me. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. 45 years since Hilda took my hand. There's no finer woman in this mountain land. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. Many young men offered her their ring. I won Hilda's heart when she heard me sing. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. Horse pulls the wagon, pony pulls the cart. Hilda, she pulled me straight into her heart. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. Big boat on the river, little boat on the creek. When I look at Hilda, I can hardly speak. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. Sometimes I wonder what I did right. Me and my Hilda together every night. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. When we are gone, no longer in this land, put on a stone. Here lies Hilda's man, up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. Up on the mountain, running from the dawn. Been a long time coming, be a long time gone. Thank you so much. So while Matthias is changing guitars, we're going to have a very brief commercial interlude. The Looping Brothers and I commissioned a study of audiences, and it shows that unless audiences have a commercial. What? Where is it? Did any of you steal his guitar? Well, I don't know. Cuz, can you help us out here? It's in the green room. Is it behind the green door? Ooh, yeah. Okay, so while the guitar is rescued, I will explain why he is changing guitars. Okay, who is sponsoring the concert tonight? No, I'm sorry. It's not the Tea Party. That was a wrong answer. I don't mean to be evaluative or to make judgments, but that is not, in fact, who is sponsoring. It's the Charlotte Folk Society. Now, those who know me know that I rarely kneel on the ground and bow down to a living human being. This is not in my nature. But there are witnesses here that will say that when there are only 5 people in the auditorium, I knelt and bowed down to the founder of the Charlotte Folk Society. She is here tonight. Would Marilyn Price please stand so we can honor her? Now, this is a volunteer organization. And it keeps going because of the wonderful volunteers who are here tonight, because of the members, because of the many people who make contributions. And this guitar, in a perfect world, would have belonged to Earl Scruggs. It's not a perfect world, but it was donated by the violin shop for the raffle. The raffle, right? Because this magnificent guitar that Earl Scruggs would have wept for joy to have owned is going to be raffled off. It is going to be raffled off. And we have been asked to, Dennis Frost, a.k.a. Cuz, his radio name, not his witness protection name. It's his radio name. So Cuz said, could you find a brilliant guitarist to demonstrate this magnificent instrument? Here on the raffle guitar is Matthias Mosher.
Now listen to this. It's a nice sounding device here. A wood song guitar. It's a deep bass. Come on with it. Tuner, inbuilt tuner.
Matthias Melcher. Now, there has been a change in the raffle. Matthias wants to take this one home. We're raffling off his Martin. I got to Charlotte, North Carolina in 1972. I was working for the United Mine Workers of America on the Brookside strike in Harlan County, Kentucky. And those mines were owned by our friendly neighborhood power company, Duke Power, now Duke Energy. And I was sent by the mine workers of the Carolinas to open up a second front in addition to the picket line in Harlan County. Some of you may have seen the magnificent documentary called Harlan County, USA by the then very young filmmaker Barbara Kaufman, now one of our most distinguished filmmakers. If you haven't seen it, it's an extraordinary documentary, the only documentary, to my knowledge, about our country's working people to have ever won an Academy Award. This is a song called Brookside Strike. I'm tired of working for nothing and bad top that's ready to fall. If we can't dig this coal without danger, well, we ain't gonna dig it at all. And the wind blows hard up the holler through the trees with a whistling sound. But the sun's gonna shine in this old mine, ain't no one can turn us around. If it weren't for the underground miner, not a light in this country would burn. You'd think that we'd work with the union, but they fight us at every damn turn. And the wind blows hard up the holler through the trees with a whistling sound. But the sun's gotta shine in this old mine, ain't no one can turn us around. I'm making my stand here at Brookside, and I'll use any tool I can find. You can lock me up tight in your jailhouse, but you can't put a chain on my mind. And the wind blows hard up the holler through the trees with a whistling sound. But the sun's gonna shine in this old mine, ain't no one can turn us around. And the wind blows hard up the holler through the trees with a whistling sound. But the sun's gonna shine in this old mine, ain't no one can turn us around. Thank you so much. We're going to stay in the coal fields for a while. We're going to stay in eastern Kentucky. Which reminds me that this would be a propitious moment in which to let you know about some of the... You guys want to take a break for a minute or something? Yeah, just go relax and get a massage or something. This is going to take a while. So, how many of you are sitting on a leaflet at this very moment? Don't look. Just consult your inner psyche. So the flyer, the one-page white flyer, has 3 very special events that are coming up at the Evening Muse. How many of you are regulars at or even irregulars at the Evening Muse? Yeah. And if there is a club whose owner has a cooler name than Joe Cool Man. I don't know who it is. That's his real name, Joe Cool Man, you know? How much would you pay to change your name to something like that? So we've got, and I'm not going to do these at length, but just so you know what's coming up. These are all things that I'm involved with. I started a couple years ago co-producing some CDs for people whose music and artistry I really, really respect. One of them, some of you will know, Melissa Mummert is an ordained Unitarian minister. She does extraordinary work with women in prison here in Charlotte. She's also just worked with others to open Second Helping, which is a restaurant run by formerly incarcerated women out on Central Avenue. Please go out there. They're doing magnificent Southern food. Go out there, give them a hand. And my longtime studio engineer, Chris Gargis, and I have finished producing an album for Melissa of her original songs. It's quite extraordinary. And we're going to have a CD, not one CD release party, but two. That's on October 27th. There's a 3 o'clock show for the young people, and then 7 p.m. for the older folks who can party all night. Yes, indeed. Anyway, it's wonderful. You can get the tickets on the Muse website, and it's going to be a magnificent show. Every artist who played on the recording sessions is coming into town to do this, and it's going to be a great night. Secondly, on November the 19th, Sue Masick of the legendary Kentucky all-women's string band called the Real World String Band that has won every award Kentucky has to offer. She will be appearing. Did anybody see the band slip off? You know, they keep threatening to abandon me in mid-concert. Can somebody call US Air and tell them to block the flight to Frankfurt? I'd appreciate that. So Sue is starring in a one-woman show called Precious Memories about the legendary but largely unknown Bell County, Kentucky, Eastern Kentucky, self-described miner's wife, traditional singer and union songwriter Sarah Ogan Gunning, who in her lifetime went twice from total poverty to recognition. Pete Seeger, when he was 15 years old, sat at her feet in the Lower East Side and learned songs from her. Woody Guthrie was clearly in love with her. If you read what he wrote about her, she hung out with Will Geer, known mostly to us as Grandpa on the Waltons, but a very distinguished radical and an actor with all the great artists of that time, with Hudie and Martha Leadbelly and Martha. They were all friends and neighbors for many years. And then as the war heated up, everybody left to go work in the defense plants or to go into the merchant marine as Woody Guthrie did, or the Army as Pete Seeger did. She was forgotten totally for 20 years and then rediscovered in the last 20 years of her life, sang everywhere, including Carnegie Hall. It's an extraordinary story of loss and gain. Sue, who is a great traditional singer in the Eastern Kentucky style, a magnificent old-time banjo player, just lifts it off the ground at the Muse, 7 p.m. on Sunday, November the 17th. And then our old Daniel Costin, a wonderful photographer who you see weaving in and out of so many musical events and theatrical events, has just published a book. It's at McFarland Press up in Ashe County, and it's a scholarly press at Ashe County. How about that? And but it's a wonderful book of interviews and photos of North Carolina musicians. His book release party is on Tuesday, November the 19th, and I'll be playing and another dozen musicians who are described in it. So this is 3 really great events. I want to add one more on the mini flyer. This one, right? This is in the Tea Garden Concert Series in South Charlotte, hosted by Elizabeth Teagarden. On Saturday, October 19th, Deborah Cowan will be singing and playing. Now, Cuz already said something about Deborah. I want to tell you that she is magnificent. She can hold a stage. She can hold a song. She's also a great teacher. She'll be doing a workshop at 4 p.m., potluck at 6 p.m., concert at 7 p.m. Not known widely in our area, should be. She has my absolutely full faith and credit. So worth going to hear her. She will actually, as I turn 70 next year, so I am rushing the CDs out as fast as I can. And two, for many years, I've done one every 3 years. This summer, I put out 2 different CDs, and she will be on a recording of the songs from another one of my musicals. It's called A Silver Spoon. She sings the garment worker, daughter of immigrant who worked at the Triangle Shirtwaist Factory fire, Jewish, radical Maryland, does a magnificent job with a difficult piece of theater. So please do yourself a favor, go out and hear Deborah Cowan. I think those are all the announcements for the night. Would anybody does anybody always wanted to come up and play here? I need 3 people to volunteer to come up and play. You notice they left their instruments, but, anybody for electric bass? Okay, come on up. Guitar, mandolin? Okay, well, I guess I'll, wow, this is serious. This is very serious. Okay, so I will take 1 minute to describe the next song, and either I or they will do it. I've been working in Alaska lately in a place called Bristol Bay. I'd never heard of it. It's an inland ocean. It's the source of almost half of all the wild sockeye salmon left in the world. Along the rivers that drain into the bay are Alaska Native communities that have been there since they crossed over in the Land Ridge from Siberia 50,000 years ago. And an international mining consortium wants to build the world's largest open pit mine, 2.5 miles wide, 3/4 of a mile deep, with a tailings pond, 12 billion gallons of toxic waste. There's a wonderful campaign to stop this. I was asked 3 years ago to go to Alaska to write a theme song for the campaign. I do tend to be an overachiever under certain circumstances, so I wrote a whole album of songs. It's called Bristol Bay. How much they want to come back? In euros. Oh. Where were you? I was worried. I'm getting in a lot of trouble in this neighborhood in Charlotte, Lots of churches, So anyway, and along the way, we're not wearing the T-shirts tonight. I started working with friends in Alaska to put together an international network of musicians. It's called Musicians United to Protect Bristol Bay. And the idea is that you do something small. You write a song, you perform a song in your set. When you're being interviewed on the radio, you say something about the issue. It's a communications network. We have almost 400 musicians who are a part of this, including Pete Seeger, Tom Chapin, Holly Near, John McCutcheon, many of the great folk artists. The wonderful blues artist Guy Davis just joined. It's really a wonderful thing. So our website is musiciansunited.info, and there's a space to say, I'm a musician, I want to help. And there's a space that says, I'm not a musician, but I want to help. This is a song from the album Bristol Bay. It's called Sailing to Alaska. The fish are few along the coast of Sweden. Boats are all put up along the shore. The crop has sailed again, the cellar's empty. Starvation stares us in the face once more. But stories fly to us across the ocean of rivers where the fish are thick as sand. I will leave the house I was born in to seek my fortune in a foreign land. We are sailing, sailing, we are sailing to Alaska. We are sailing, sailing, we are sailing to Bristol Bay. find a woman there to marry. We will build a cabin on the land. With God's grace we'll give each other children, raise them up the very best we can. We will find a boat to buy or borrow. I will haul the nets in with my wife. I will no longer speak my language, but I will dream of Swedish all my life. We are sailing, sailing, we are sailing to Alaska. We are sailing, sailing, we are sailing to Bristol Bay. We are sailing, sailing, we are sailing to Alaska. We are sailing, sailing, we are sailing to Bristol Bay. Before we do our last song, I want to do some thank yous. First of all, I want to thank my traveling brothers, the Looping Brothers, for really setting my songs in such a magnificent setting. They chose, we have this new album, it's called Aragon Mill, the Bluegrass Sessions. And they chose all of the songs to go on it. And at least half of those songs, it never would have occurred to me to do as bluegrass songs. They made all the arrangements, they did all the instruments, and you know, I actually have a copy without my voice because it just sounds great all on its own, you know, it's really wonderful. So thanks to Matthias and to Ralph and to Uli. These are my friends. No one could ask for better musical companions. I want to thank Mark back at the soundboard for making us sound so much better than we really are. My great friend of many years, Wanda Ubicki. I am auctioning off at least 300 emails from Wanda, all aimed at making this the wonderful evening that it was. Every detail whatsoever, Wanda, thank you as always. And one of the stalwarts of the Charlotte Folk Society. And some of the people that Wanda persuaded to write or record major publicity for this. From the Charlotte Observer, Courtney DeVores. From creative writing, not just a journalist, but a wonderful poet and writer, John Grooms. Over in Gastonia for WGSE, Randy Walker did a great interview with Uli and with Matthias. Just the two of them, they're getting pretty good at this stuff. So Randy, thanks to all of you. And then more than anything else, the volunteers. Let's have a round for the volunteers. You guys want to say anything?
Yes. Yeah. We want to thank you, Saika.
For taking us out here. It's been really a treat to see a lot of North Carolina here, and Kentucky, and Georgia, and South Carolina, what have you here. And thank you, Sai, for writing all these wonderful songs on the album, taking us along with you here. It's really been a treat. Thank you very much.
So, in an evening of many stories, I need to tell you one more story before we close. So, how many of you are wondering why we went to Ocracoke Island? Not exactly one of the known musical meccas of the southern world, right? Here's what happened. So Ralph has an absolutely delicious 5-year-old daughter named Malia. We were on tour in the Netherlands and Germany last spring, and Malia and I were playing, and she brought out her Legos. And I said, "What would you like to build?" And she said, "I want to build a pirate ship." And I said, "That's great. Let's build a pirate ship. Why did you choose a pirate ship?" And she said, "Because when I grow up, I'm going to be a lady pirate." And her mother, Zamona, said, "You know, it's tough because the boys in her kindergarten make fun of her. And they say, 'Girls can't be pirates. Only boys can be pirates.'" I pulled myself up to my full North Carolinian height, and I said, "Have you heard of Anne Bonny? Have you heard of Mary Read, the great lady pirates, Anne Bonny, the daughter of the colonial governor, right down there on Ocracoke Island with Edward Teach, with Teach's Hole and Blackbeard, who, after his head was severed from his body by the English lieutenant, his headless body swam around the ship 7 times before it sank." I said, "There are lady pirates all over the world," and it struck me, we have to go to Ocracoke. So I said to Malia, "I will take your father to the island of lady pirates, and we will bring back evidence that you can show those boys in your kindergarten the truth." So I called my good friend Marcy Brenner of the wonderful band Molasses Creek and said, "I can't explain. We have to play Ocracoke Island." And we did. We had a wonderful time. This song is for Doc Watson. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to the Charlotte Folk Society. Thanks to all of you who play music, listen to music, enjoy music, love music, pass the music on for me and the Looping Brothers. Thank you so much. I lost my mother when I was young, but I had Doc and Rosalie. I'd cry along to that vinyl record when they sang "Your Long Journey." If I had a gold watch and chain, I would pawn them any day. I'd walk across the Blue Ridge Mountains to hear Doc Watson play, just to hear Doc Watson play. The harder falls the early frost, the brighter shine the autumn leaves. The words of those we've loved and lost bring us comfort while we grieve. If I had a gold watch and chain, I would pawn them any day. I'd walk across the Blue Ridge Mountains to hear Doc Watson play, just to hear Doc Watson play. When our singing time is past and all our best is left behind, the songs we loved will live and last like thoughts of spring in the winter time. If I had a gold watch and chain, I would pawn them any day. I'd walk across the Blue Ridge Mountains to hear Doc Watson play, just to hear Doc Watson play. Thank you all so much. Cuz has given me the, oh, all right, just one more song, Secret Sign, known only to Cuz and me, and we will not divulge. You know, by the sheerest coincidence, while we, oh, and thank you for that really extraordinary reception. It is true. It is true. The rumor is true. Yes, we are not above making CDs. I know. It's you know, it undercuts the music. It should be natural, be heard live. But I don't know what came over us. But we did make this CD. It will be downstairs along with the great eats and other stuff. We're happy to autograph, and we're all have remarkably clear handwriting. So please join us downstairs. Thank you again. Here's our really last song. It's called "What Will I Leave?" Late in the evening, as light fades away, in silence we gather together, searching the faces of those who are here, for those who have left us forever. What will I leave? What will I leave? What will I leave behind? When I am gone, who'll carry on? What will I leave behind? Where are the ones who caught flame in the night, fired up by the heat of devotion, measuring their lives by the light of the truth? They burn like a lamp on the ocean. What will I leave? What will I leave? What will I leave behind? When I am gone, who'll carry on? What will I leave behind? Who will remember the words of the brave that lifted us higher and higher? Who will remember the price that they paid for lives lived too close to the fire? What will I leave? What will I leave? What will I leave behind? When I am gone, who'll carry on? What will I leave behind? Hearts of the ones who inherit your lives will rest in the truth you have spoken. Memory will echo the trust that you kept. Like you, it will never be broken. What will I leave? What will I leave? What will I leave behind? When I am gone, who'll carry on? What will I leave behind? What will I leave? What will I leave? What will I leave behind? When I am gone, who'll carry on? What will I leave behind? Thank you all again.